Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
We made it.
Yep.
We're in my sewing room. The light is like crazy. The light is really good in here, though. Other than the fact that it's very down.
Yep.
But
I think I lost 5 years.
I don't know. I feel like I gained 10 with this light.
Yeah.
But my eyes are 20 years younger with this light. So.
Okay, what's today about?
Okay, we are talking about the fact that we're still selling stuff. And I came up with this as an idea for a live title because when we did our last stand, everyone's like, oh, congratulations on the end of your season. And I was like, no.
Not done yet.
Not done yet. And we also have had a lot of people not coming to the house anymore. So I'm like, no, like keep coming. We still have lots more food. And even though it snowed, and there is currently snow on the ground, we still have lots more food. It's not done. The fall season has only just begun.
This past Saturday was the day after the snow fell.
Yesterday.
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah.
The snow fell on Friday, and so the market was just canceled. They don't normally have to deal with snow and the outdoor weather.
Like ever.
Yeah, because after October and November, the market goes inside through the winter, so it's actually a year-round farmers market. Obviously, the size of it decreases as it moves to the new venue, but normally in October they never have to worry about snow removal, so they just had to close down for liability issues, slips and falls, and that was fine with us because we were so busy. Serena had 3,000 tulip bulbs show up, and we had to get those on the ground, and we still have to plant our garlic, so we had to.
Which is fine, because the plan all along was next week for planting our garlic.
But we couldn't get behind schedule with the tulips, so we did that. We got all the tulips in the ground. We're not feeling super far behind or anything like that, and now we're ready.
I took pity on Ian because ever since we skipped a market, I was like, we can't skip any markets. Because, once you start skipping markets, then it's easier to skip, going into the future.
You get lazy.
And so now every week, Ian's been like, I really think we should skip the market. Ever since we skipped that first one. And I'm like, no, we can't skip the market. We can't skip the market. And I actually harvested in a bunch of carrots in preparation for not skipping the market.
Yeah.
And then I checked the weather and it said that it was going to be -5 overnight. And the coldest time of the day is 5 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, I feel really bad for Ian having to go down there and it be -5 and he's has to stand out there in that for 8 hours. So.
Yeah, I was definitely not very excited about it.
And so that
and I wanted to not get behind because I've been sleep deprived for a while now.
Yeah, my barter was we'll skip the market as long as we do this live video with you guys.
Yep.
And then it worked out perfectly because they canceled the market, so we couldn't have done it anyways. But I still got the live video, so here we are.
Yeah.
Sell snow cones. Yeah, pretty much. Though, don't even get me started. That
before we started the farm, Serena wanted to do high-end snow cones.
Yeah, I had this cocktail inspired adult snow cone market business idea, which I still to this day think is one of my best ideas. But I refuse to drive a truck and trailer, and it would involve a truck and trailer. So
yeah.
So we didn't get to do that. But anyone else, snow cone business, genius. Pretty sure it's the best market idea ever.
Well, if it was the best market idea ever, then somebody would have already done it.
No, they just haven't thought of it yet. So I'm giving that one out to you guys.
But I'm really excited because the next farmers market that we're selling at is the Halloween market. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be on Halloween. Oh, we need to make you a costume.
Yeah, I need a costume.
Okay, Ian has to have a costume because I like dressing up Ian. I made him wear a flower crown at a market.
Yeah,
once.
we were having really bad flower sales the week before, I think, or 2 weeks. Our flower sales were down. so I had to wear a flower crown. And
yeah, I was like, you're not selling enough flowers. I'm gonna build you this flower crown, and you have to wear this all market.
People talked about it. It was fun.
Yeah, people apparently talked about it for a couple of markets. They're like, oh, weren't you the guy who had that flower crown?
You know, farmers markets are fun, right? It's a cool group of people. Everybody there is like a vendor, so there's lots of like charismatic people or like extroverts, people who are just able to address
Scarecrow, I like
the community. You know, like all these people going by. You know, talk. So it's fun to like, you know, play the part and.
Oh, I miss the market like
and
so
be
much.
Like,
I'm always like,
a character.
Tell me, Ian, tell me what happened at the market, because I love the market. I love doing the market, but you know, and with this market we can't go with our kids. You know, the market that we did last year, we could go with the kids, and so like we could all go as a family. So
yeah, there's a water park, and the kids would just like hang out in the water park. And we could see them from where we were. It was just like one of those.
It was like it was like our tiny neighborhood farmers market.
Yeah.
This one is like crazy.
Yeah, this one last year, like before the COVID stuff, they were apparently having 10,000 people on the busiest Saturdays go through the market, which is an insane amount of people, right?
Yeah, that is a lot of people.
Yep.
Okay. Do we still have snow? Let's answer that one first.
Oh yeah, we do.
We still have snow. So
it is melting, but
I promised in the description that I wrote for this video that there's going to be some snow complaining. So I hate snow. I hate snow in January when we get snow. So I don't like, my brain like can't even process the fact that there's snow right now. But it's going.
Remember when Sam was a baby and we'd take him outside and start crying?
Sam would cry every time. Every time we went outside in the snow, and I was like,
yeah,
he's my son for sure.
Right now, you know, like it was a day of melting, and then now it's cold, so it's just like ice out there.
It was supposed to have melted yesterday, but we dug
5 inches is a lot.
We dug our dahlias yesterday in the snow, which was unpleasant. I was like sure that it was gonna melt, and that's why we made that snow video instead of digging our dahlias on Friday.
Somebody's asking about the chickens. The chickens actually were out a bunch today. With it was more the snow than the cold.
Yeah, they didn't like the snow. They don't mind the cold, and it's also not that cold. It's just a tiny bit below freezing.
Yeah.
So the chickens like this weather way more than they liked when it was like in the high 30s.
Yeah.
Like when it was like 100, they were like very not happy, but that, you know, this is better for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your first point on your list here?
No, these are just questions. The first thing is what this video is about, which is we're going to be selling stuff. Our sales plan.
I thought these were sub.
Okay,
points.
no, okay. So I like, you can see check out my notes here, guys. Yeah. Some very high quality notes. Because we made a community post asking if you guys had any questions. So I made some notes of ones that were somewhat on topic.
Yep.
But we'll get to those after we talk about
keep selling. We want to do at least 3 more markets, because obviously we already talked about Halloween market. That's for sure. That's the last outside market of the year. And then when it moves inside, I'd like to at least try that twice.
We need to do some inside ones.
It's market research.
Yeah.
It's not about making money. It's about figuring out what the crowd is that's there. Because I think a lot of the farms have shut down. Like a lot of the local small farms in our situation are shut down. But I would say one advantage that we have is that we live on our farm property, right? It's easier for us to maintain like a small presence at our farm than maybe
literally
it is
market research.
Yeah, literally market research.
But it's the market. Yeah.
You know, like maybe it's less worthwhile if you have to like, you know, drive over to your farm or something. But being right here, we can kind of keep things going, even though it's not really great business right now. But the idea is that maybe we can carve out a niche for ourselves at these shoulder season, right? And maybe if we like had a ton of tomatoes that we picked green at the end of the season and we slowly let those ripen, we could have fresh tomatoes ripening into like November or whatever, and people would be like,
where are these tomatoes coming from?
yeah, and just corner the market on some of that stuff. Um, shoulder seasons are the way to.
It's the thing of we need to do it to know, right? I mean, it's a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
I was harvesting carrots on so I was harvesting carrots on Thursday instead of on Friday because it was supposed to be cold on Friday, and to do roots you need to work with water. So I'm like literally like spraying, getting soaked, and like that is really unpleasant when it's really cold. So I was getting that done ahead of time. So like I get it. It's definitely not not the time of year that it's not as pleasant as in the summer.
Yeah.
And then there's less options. But who knows? Like maybe there's less competition because no one wants to do it. There's also not very much competition early in the season, and we've done early season, and the sales were really bad.
But the early season, the flowers in the early season is like
but we don't have flowers in the early season.
No, but that's the type of thing where there's perennial plantings that we're investing in.
Yeah, but it's hard, right? Someone's asking what a shoulder season is. So which is a very good question. The like peak season is like all the summer crops, right? And so shoulder seasons are like before the main stuff is ready, and then kind of after the main stuff is finished. So the shoulder seasons, like if what you can get out of your garden is like a curve, the edges would be the shoulders.
Yeah, but and the way that we look at it is because, you need as many weeks of selling as possible for it to add up to anything. Because, farming is hard, and there's a lot of work that goes into harvesting a $2 or $3 item. In the end of it, after you grew it and you harvested it and you brought it to market and you blah blah blah, so much labor that you really need to like pack on some extra weeks if you can to bring that total revenue up higher, so you're actually bringing in some sort of like living. We'll have a slow season probably like December to February. We'll probably
we'll stop. The sales will be done by December. Just because.
Oh, thanks, kid.
You're not supposed to give us money. You are like we're always like, oh, like I feel so bad, Kaylee, or it's Kelly.
Yeah.
Right. Like we always are like, oh, she's always like such a great moderator for us. Then you give us money.
But thank you.
Yes, but we do appreciate. I didn't see
December to February.
Okay, yeah. So we'll end in December. We'll kind of take that off. And then January, February is I'll make lots of seed shopping videos for all you guys. And I don't.
That's my busy season for forestry.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't really think that we even have seeds that get started yet in January, February.
Like right at the end of February? Is that when you were starting your peppers?
Beginning of March last year is when I started my earliest stuff.
Yeah.
But everything grew so crazy.
Yeah.
Last year that I actually needed to start it 2 weeks later.
Because this year we used some better grow lights than we had in the past, and they made the seedlings.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, are they gonna not die before they?
But it all depends. We keep getting we get contacted all the time by people wanting to give us free grow lights.
Yeah. And
we're like, yeah, sure. Here's our address. They've yet to show up. I think I actually have one showing up.
Yeah, I think that there's one that
there's maybe one showing up. But who knows, if we got enough free grow lights, we could start them early and then stagger them and then have a grow light that is just to like keep them. We could put them into the garage where it'd be cold so they'd slow down for growing.
Yeah.
But then I could stagger my potting up because it's always
the potting up.
Seedling season is an insane season.
Potting up takes so long. It's like one tray will take like an hour.
Yeah, totally.
Somebody was asking about heated greenhouse earlier. Heated greenhouse is on our
Wish
kind of
list.
wish list. We're in Canada and we're having trouble finding exactly what we want. We want something that's like 30 feet wide and 70 feet long, and then
They exist.
They do,
but we need to do some research to
yeah.
find them.
We've been doing research on other stuff. We only have so much brain power to devote towards anything, but
We know where we're gonna put it.
Yeah.
That's
a pretty good
you know
start.
what? We can talk about that after. One of the questions is about watering crops, and that is part of the fall. But let's finish. We're 15 minutes in, and we haven't even all we've said so far about the title of this video is the fact that our farmers market is going indoors. Yeah, and so we're gonna have. So I see you talking about the dried flowers there. So the other part is so it's where we're going to sell, which is we're still going to have stuff at the house.
Yeah.
We still have our carport thing set up, and we are going to get a new sign because no one's driving into the driveway anymore. And we figure they just assume that we don't have anything anymore. So we're going to get a sign that says like carrots, kale, eggs, and then then it'll be more like we actually have these things right now. And then maybe we can get people turning down the driveway for the next month. And then we're going to be selling at the farmers markets still on Saturday. And the other half of the question is, what are we going to be selling?
Yep.
And so we were preparing in the summer. We were preparing for doing the selling. And that's like preparing for stuff we planted stuff in the summer to be ready to harvest in the fall, and that is called succession planting. So succession planting is like when you stagger your plantings so that your harvests are staggered. And so when we were planning for this fall season, we also had to keep in mind like varieties and stuff. So we grow. So I guess the list. Answer the first question before I get into the details. What are we going to be selling? So we're going to have carrots, and we have beets, and we have kale, and we have Swiss chard, and garlic. We still have garlic.
Yeah.
And then we have dried flowers.
That's most of it, I'd say.
I thought there was one more thing. I thought there was one more thing in the farm. Oh, we were supposed to have lettuce, but I messed that up.
Yeah.
And then we have bits and pieces. No rutabagas. I like to eat rutabagas, but we have issues with some of those kind of crops. We tried to have turnips this year, but we had issues.
Yeah, they've all got to be grown under insect netting.
Yeah, we have a maggot that gets into the. But anyways, okay, so
the chickens are good. The chickens probably whenever I went out to see them today, half of them were outside of the coop at any point in time. The snow had melted down enough so that they weren't scared of it anymore. And when I opened up the door in the morning to let them out, a good number of them kind of just they didn't run out, but they walked out. They were like more used to it just after a day.
Yeah. Okay, so to have the stuff that we're gonna sell, back to the succession planting. We planted it to be ready for now. Stuff like the kale, we plant a different variety of kale than what we grow in the summer. The summer kale variety that we grew this year was dark boar and red boar, which is the green and red frilly ones.
Yep.
They are not super cold hardy. The super cold hardy frilly variety that we grow is winter boar. Yeah. And winter boar, like -20, no problem.
Winter boar is crazy.
Winter boar is like the most cold hardy out of anything that we grow.
Yeah.
We also grow another kind of flat leaf variety that's really, really tasty. People don't want to buy it. They always want the frilly one.
Yeah.
And we keep trying to convince them that what they actually want is this one. It's a Siberian kale. It's a
very tender leaf.
Yeah, it's a really weird nice kale.
For a kale. Like the leaf is a lot different texture. More like a spinach leaf, I'd say. You know, like
Yeah.
when you bite into it, the
Yeah.
texture on it.
And then the other thing too about any of these fall winter crops is they all get super sweet. Like all of our kale just got like a major upgrade from this snow and this freezing weather, because it all went from like being like, you know, bitter rubber plants to like tender and sweet.
Yeah, because the
which
plant
is the magic of the cold weather.
Yeah, the plants all make sugars so that it's kind of like antifreeze, so that the cells don't explode.
Yeah. So they
boost their sugar content.
Yeah, and our carrots that were like already sweet,
the carrots are
they're
so
gonna
good.
They're gonna be really good after this cold weather.
Carrots are like just my favorite thing to eat, pretty much. Like my body's just like, yeah, just eat these all day.
Yeah, we've really been enjoying the carrots. Yeah, so succession planting was one of the questions that I had.
Okay, what are the other questions? Let's go to another one.
Well, no. So another thing to address, like in like how we're growing these things, was someone was asking about covering crops, and so basically they're asking like, what do we have to do to make it so that these crops can survive in this colder weather? And you know, the first
covering
answer,
crops or cover crops?
Covering crops, not cover crops.
We don't do any cover crops, but I think we'd like to.
Yeah, in the future,
we just
definitely
haven't
like to. We're just not organized enough.
Yeah,
and we're also space constrained because a cover crop is taking up space, because we have. It's not like we could plant cover crops right now.
No, but we could have at the end of the summer vegetables.
Yeah, but
yeah.
So for covering crops, like we don't, because we're growing these varieties that are cold hardy, we don't have to worry about covering the crops. And then
except the chard.
Yeah, the only crop that we cover is Swiss chard. And so we had to replant Swiss chard for the fall. Our Swiss chard plants that we planted like back in April, we've been picking on them crazy. You know, they produce, but at this point they've been so picked that they're just exhausted. You know, maybe if I would have fertilized the beds mid-season, they wouldn't have petered out. But what we did instead is we did a fresh planting, and then those we have under like a tunnel, like a piece of plastic covering them up, and then that gives them just a little bit of extra warmth and frost protection too, because a really hard frost can damage them. And we did, so the coldest that we've gotten, because we just had this crazy cold spell. Okay, so the kale winter and then BORE is winter boar, and then Siberian kale. Swiss chard. Yeah, so Swiss chard can get damaged in the cold that we've had.
Yeah.
So we don't know what our Swiss chard is going to look like, but snow was really insulating. So our tunnel was covered with snow. You know, it's like getting tucked in. We had some
chard that was under a tunnel last year, and we didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, it survived all winter.
And it survived all winter. Like, it wasn't super happy in the spring by the time I took the tunnel off, but you know, I'm sure that they'll be fine in any of these temperatures when they're covered.
The shadow bee. I see you saying that you haven't had frost yet. So we got our first frost Thursday.
Yeah, and then
Friday it snowed 5 inches. So like we went and picked every single one of the dahlias out of the farm because the frost was coming, and I still have this like big beautiful decadent like dahlia bouquet on my table. It's definitely weird weather pattern.
Like today there was a moment that looked really weird because all our walnut tree still had all these green leaves on it, and then there was like a thing of snow on the ground.
Ian's gonna see if he can get a picture and show you. This doesn't always work.
Sometimes it does.
The camera to camera.
Okay. Yeah. All the green leaves on the white snow. It was like, I think that this weather pattern has invented a new season.
Yeah. Super weird weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess back to weather and about like, you know, this idea of like our fall stuff is it snowed, super weird. But we normally like we normally don't.
We're
We get a frost end of
Yeah.
like this time of year. It's normal to start getting frosts, but we have really nice falls here in the Okanagan normally. Um, Normally it would be kind of like, oh, frost comes, it kills off our tomatoes and our zucchinis
Yeah.
and all those like sensitive summer crops, and then it dips in. We get some cold nights that start to do stuff, but it's not like we go into this hard winter. We usually kind of only start to dip into real winter style weather come. Oh, Leah's here. Yeah, so we only. Yeah, I saw the. Saw that. Yeah. Um. I'm super distracted. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So we don't normally have snow. And we normally have nice, beautiful weather. We'll start getting wet weather because we get zero moisture all summer. We have to water everything. But yeah, it's only kind of into November that we start to get frosts, and then into December we start to get some snow, but not much. It's still, quite often it'll snow and then it'll melt right away. You don't even have to shovel the snow when it falls. It's only kind of January, February that are those actual cold temperatures. So the weather we got is really weird, but we're most likely protected. Carrots, like they will get damaged from the cold. But they also have the greens, right? So all the fact they're so tight together and they have the greens, it's almost like they already have like a frost protection over top of them. It can damage the greens of the carrots, but at this point, we start to sell the carrots without the greens attached because um, if the greens are attached, you have to sell them right away. Carrots, the carrots keep super good. Like carrots that you get in the grocery store were like harvested like months and months ago. Um, but so we harvest the carrots with the tops off so that they're a little bit more shelf stable. And so they're easier to wash too because it starts to be a huge pain in the butt. Things are really muddy because it's wet, and yeah, and then we also it's cold out, so
it's harder to wash stuff right now. Like
the faster we can wash.
We don't have our farm water supply on anymore.
Yeah, and so that was another like someone was asking about watering crops, and so I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, there's a tap on our outbuilding on the outside that we now have to use. That stays on year round, and that's the only way to water anything outside of like from October to April, the end of April. That's all that we can use to water our whole entire farm is like one tap that came down a 3/4 inch line, and it's like if you're using, if you're doing laundry in the house, that's drawing from the same water supply. So it's limiting. It's for sure limiting at this time of year. More so in the spring.
Yeah, it's a huge issue in the spring because which is like the water thing is an issue for us putting in the heated greenhouse because we could have a heated greenhouse, but what's the point of having a heated greenhouse if you don't have water to water it? So we're very limited for what we can do.
We may have to have some sort of like cistern in the like water holding tank.
Yeah, that we like fill up off of our like house water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The house water is the same water supply as the farm water. They all come through the same. Yeah,
so it's all water treated.
Yeah, it's just that there's a separate line that runs along the road that supplies all the farms, and it comes into our property on like an 1.5 inch line instead of the 3/4 inch. And for it, because one of the things that we were trying to do for getting farm status is that we got cheaper water. So we have water rights on our 2.5 acre property, and that means that our water rate is like, I think it's like $30 an acre or something like that. We pay when we have farm status, $30 an acre. So say it's like, what, $75,
That's the math.
a month or something like that. So it's like, our water bills were being
It was like $500,
before
which,
we were getting we get bills every 3 months. So it's 3 months
but I
of
think it
usage.
was like even more than $500.
It was. We were getting
It was.
we were
It was
getting
like
water
we were
bills
like, whoa.
in the $600. And because if you don't have farm status, that 1.5-inch line, it has a meter on it, and it just kicks over at the standard household rate. So you can
You can use a lot of water.
use a lot of water. But if we're watering early in the season, it's what we have to do. It's cost of doing business. If we have to pay that extra money because it's coming in on meter.
They're asking about why can't we just have a frost-free faucet?
Well, the one on our outbuilding is a frost-free faucet, so that's why we can have water supply. The 1.5-inch line that comes in on the farm water supply, that's controlled by the city, and the city actually shuts it down. In October, they come through and they winterize all of their side of the pipe, and then it's up to us to winterize everything on the other side of it, and it's done now.
It's different. Like the water that comes into our house comes in underground, right? Like so that runs off the city pipe into our house underground. The farm water comes in above ground.
Yeah, like it comes in underneath, and then it goes up, and there's a bunch of valves.
Yeah.
To turn it on and off.
And that's just how they're set up.
Yeah.
So it's not that we have that is what the farm irrigation is, because it's above ground. You can't have the option of having it on.
Plus,
it's during the freeze, because basically, if we had a heated greenhouse, it could still be like we could still be blowing out the water lines because it's freezing overnight, and that's what the heated greenhouse is doing. We'd be heating to keep it not freezing overnight in the greenhouse.
And it also, if we have a heated greenhouse, where we're going to put it, we'd probably run a water line over to it. If we can figure out a way, we'd probably run a water line directly into it, so that at least we weren't relying on the outbuildings taps to feed it.
Yeah. Okay, and I see someone asking about rainwater catchment, which is we need to put into context why we need to water in the spring, and that is
it's dry.
We don't get water here. The what is it, 13 inches per
year, yeah.
Per year, and most of that.
Well, not most of it, but the biggest month is in June. June's actually wet, but then
what I was gonna say, a lot of it is snow, right?
Yeah.
So we get rain in June, and then we get winter snow, and then we usually get enough moisture, kind of October, November, that we don't have to water the gardens, right? Like at this point, we don't need to irrigate, but I probably did in the greenhouses we need to irrigate. I actually need to water one of my greenhouses that's overwintered planted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watered in October. I had to turn on the farm water, about a week into October. Yeah. It still is dry enough that we need that.
Wells, nobody has wells here because all of the orchards are supplied off of this farm water. It's mostly orchards around us. We're a veggie farm, but most of our neighbors are growing cherries, majorly, and so they just need the moisture in a very specific period of time, and having a nice, strong, city supplied water supply, perfect for them.
I mean,
nobody's drilling wells in our little area.
Even at having to pay the cost of residential water, we could do that for 100 years and it wouldn't even come close to the cost of drilling a well. A well would be like 30 grand, 40 grand, and then we'd have to do water treatment. But so we do have water. We just have limitations on our water when we don't have the farm water, because the farm water has crazy flow. Let's see. Oh, okay. three. I can bang them off quickly. Here, we'll ask Ian this one. If we went back in time and had to do it all over again, would we still do this?
Yes. This is fun. Like this summer has been a weird one for everybody in the world, but I feel pretty lucky to be where we are this year, to weather the storm, and like this has been a really rewarding experience in a bunch of different ways. Like it's been fun to interact with the community more. You know, when for a few years there, you know, we had kids. It was like our social life had kind of like plummeted because, I mean, young family, you're just trying to tread water or whatever it is, right? You're just trying to stay afloat. And then, you know, sure, we've taken on more, but in the process of doing that, we were always interacting with people. And so I like that, you know, it's been a social thing for us, even though it's not like we're going out and we have friends, you know, like dinner parties and like taking time off, but you know, like talking to somebody for 5 or 10 minutes at the market or whatever, like that fills the social need. And then like it's cool. It's just like it's so cool to see the farm grow and it like become a business. And you know, we're putting in this effort, but it feels like we've got the momentum already. Like we're rolling the rock down the hill and now it's going on its own, and we just have to kind of like keep keep pushing as much as we can. But um it's like cool to see it go. And now it's like with the 5-year plan,
it's like curling, right? We threw the rock and now we just have to sweep it into into position.
You know,
hurry hard.
I would say that yes, I would do this again.
Okay, so I liked the like the second half. I saw someone ask that there. That how if would we have done anything different? And I'd say that like because there's been me griping, there's been me complaining that the sales aren't what I thank you so much. What was I? Okay, yeah. So I've been complaining about the sales, and but the sales are good, I think.
Yeah.
Right. You know, obviously, I want the sales to be better because if the sales stay where they are right now, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
But the goal all along was to, you know, slowly redirect the business plan to be able to get to the spot where it would be sustainable by year 5. And I feel like we are still on the right path. We haven't gotten sidetracked. We're still heading towards where we want to be.
You know, one of these days we're going to have all this infrastructure built and we're going to be able to have the time to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed
like
to
every little thing that we do is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think I talked about this in the last live video. But I was thinking about this the other day again. One of the first things that we investigated about doing on this property was like being a flower farm. And for a while there, I was pretty serious about setting it up as a peony farm. That was kind of one of the first things that I was like, this seems like this would make sense. And then
you know, I think that it would probably achieve profitability quicker, potentially.
Well, but wet Junes, right?
Yeah.
The rain, but you harvest the peony. You know, I'm. Would I do if I could do it all again? Would I be a peony farm? I don't know. Maybe
we didn't really. Well, but we didn't really want it. We didn't really want to grow just peonies.
The reason why I didn't want to grow just peonies is one, having that like a cash crop like that would lead to disease issues, which would mean we potentially could not be 100% spray free.
Yeah.
There's no pivoting. If your peonies get like of fungus,
and you're a peony farm,
you need to spray a fungicide on them, or you're not a peony farm anymore.
Yeah.
So and I was like, why am I even thinking about growing flowers? I don't like flowers. I like vegetables. Like, there's less money in vegetables, but peonies only lasting 4 to 6 weeks. That was the perk
because you
of
could
peonies.
you could get your whole season out in a short period of time. You still have other stuff to do with
you still just maintain,
but you don't have all this customer service.
Yeah,
because you're just selling to like a wholesale.
Yeah, you sell for 2 months and then you farm for 10 months, but slowly.
Yeah.
Like a peony farm would have been, we probably could have, other than like 2 crazy selling months, it would have been like a 20-hour a week job.
Somebody asked about COVID holding us back, but because of COVID, we got into the Kelowna Farmers Market, which is like, the biggest and best market. We were already selling there.
Yeah, we'd been like, hello, Saturdays. Can we do Saturday? We'd been like, oh, what are all the ways that we can suck up?
Maybe we could have just got in there anyways, like if we just asked, because they do give preference to farms over like.
I don't know if you guys know this, but we have the best display.
now we've done it for a season. Like, we have the Saturday spot for as long as we want to go to it. There's a spot for us, and we're building up repeat customers there and a name for ourselves. So that was one of our pillars of profitability.
Yeah, because we've been told you can have like a $2,000 market on the Saturday.
And it wasn't this year. It wasn't that. But that's fine. The traffic was down a bunch because of
COVID.
Yeah, but we're now in the market forever, so yay.
Yeah. For me, my biggest struggle with the COVID is I need to take the information, the market research of selling at the market, and then make decisions for future years based on the information that we're gathering. And I'm feeling really frustrated because I don't feel that I'm getting accurate information in this COVID year for non-COVID years. So my personal frustration with the COVID is I feel like I have a year where I have to guess again.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know what next year's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is the way it is this year because it's weird because it's COVID, and what is just the way things are. So I feel a little bit.
What was the next question? You said
these were supposed to be.
This is rapid fire in our house.
Okay. Did the snow ruin anything?
We kind of already covered that, but
no,
not really.
Yeah.
It would have had if it hadn't frosted the night before. But it frosted the night before.
It would have been like a frost. Winter lettuce. What is a good winter lettuce? And so we like the Salanova. We find the Salanova lettuces are really cold hardy. Out of the Salanovas, the butterleaf ones last year, I had a few little baby heads in a greenhouse that never grew big because I didn't plant them early enough.
The greenhouse didn't even have ends on it.
Yeah, it was
it was just open.
It was completely open.
It was just like a roof.
And at one point after hitting -20, I went and I harvested them once it warmed up, and they were fine. So I was really impressed with the cold hardiness on the Salanova lettuce. If you need something even more cold hardy than what that is going to do, you're probably into looking at winter boar kale. As greens go, it doesn't get more cold hardy.
Winter boar kale is crazy. And if you're like, oh, maybe it died.
It didn't.
It didn't. And it'll be fine. It just needs like a sunny day.
You can't harvest when the plants are frozen. And this is true for anything. If it's below 0 or below freezing, I guess, is it 0 in Fahrenheit?
32.
Okay. So if it's below freezing, that's works for all temperatures. You can't harvest. You have to wait until it warms up above freezing, and then you can harvest. But doesn't matter how cold. We're zone 5. I'm sure zone 3 maybe winter boar kale will die.
Hmm.
It's pretty hardy.
If you put it in a greenhouse,
yeah, if it was like protected.
if it was protected in any sort of way,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think it could grow in space.
Those were the quick ones.
What's another one?
Okay. We actually covered a bunch of these. Okay, Dahlia tubers.
We dug those up yesterday.
I forget what the actual question was. I just put that down so that we could talk about try seeds in Cuba.
Ooh.
I don't know. I didn't see what was the.
They're asking about kale in Cuba.
It'd be a winter crop for sure.
Yeah.
It's a brassica. You definitely don't need winter boar down there.
Yeah.
But you'd probably be looking. You'd want to do something that's going to be the highest production. So maybe something like Red Russian. You get like a huge volume out of the Red Russian kales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone likes my quilts. The goal this winter is the quilt is hiding my mess. And also my beautiful sewing machine.
Do you want to reveal?
Ian, I was like, oh, it's really messy. And he's like, yeah, but it's your sewing machine. And I was like, that is true. There's like blood all over it. The children spent the entire summer. This is my craft room.
Yeah. They
spent the whole summer in here. So maybe they like pricked their finger on a pin.
Yeah.
No sleeping beauties.
They opened up all the containers of all the.
They dumped like every pin I own onto the floor. They emptied out my scrap bin onto the floor. I spent like an hour to try to make space for us to put chairs in here. It's gonna be a thing. But yeah, this is a quilt top. That the plan is I need to turn it into a quilt this winter. That's the
plan.
Yeah.
It's got the makings of one.
Yeah.
What was the last one you made? I
made a Christmas quilt.
A Christmas quilt.
Yeah. And that's the only quilt we have. So I need a non-Christmas one. So the Christmas quilt can get put away for Christmas.
Yeah.
But Dahlia tubers. Okay.
How many dahlias are we doing next year?
So, well, no, I think they're asking about like fall. Maybe it was about the snow. But so what happened with our dahlias? Because I don't think we made a video. I don't think we filmed anything about the dahlias. So what you're supposed to do with dahlias is you're supposed to let the frost kill the plants and then let them sit for a week or two and go dormant in the ground, the tubers. And then you dig up the tubers and you bring them inside because if they freeze, they go to mush. So you need to put them and you need to keep them over the winter if you're in a cold area like us. If you're in Cuba, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
They're like evergreen. So we'd been waiting for the frost. Thursday, I picked all the plants, picked all the flowers. Frost came Thursday night, killed everything.
Yeah.
And then Friday, it snowed 5 inches. And that would be fine if it was like only like just freezing. And that's the reason why it snowed. But it was supposed to, last night we were supposed to get down to -10. So the snow helped. It meant that it like sheltered the stuff in the ground.
Somebody's talking about your walking foot.
My what?
Weren't you just talking about?
Oh, not a walking foot. Okay, now I have to interrupt Dahlia's to show my favorite feature about my sewing machine. Where is it? This is I was like, as we were covering it, I was like, Ian, I found this and I forgot how much I love my sewing machine. Okay, so this thing is the reason why I bought my fancy sewing machine. This is called a knee lift. And you like put this into the sewing machine, it hangs down, and then like, here, I need props.
Knees?
My knee. And then you use your knee, you like move it with your knee, and it lifts the foot. So then you like have both your hands, and then your knee like lifts and lowers your walking foot.
Your stitching looks really pro because you were talking. Serena was gonna do like a baby products.
Well, I did have babies stuff.
Yeah, she
Mittens.
and mittens.
Yeah.
Smitten mitten.
No.
Modern mitten.
Modern mitten. That was my mitten company.
Yeah.
I was gonna start a mitten company.
Okay, so
but anyways,
Dahlia tubers.
Dahlia
Here's our
tubers.
stack of Dahlia tubers. I took a picture of it today. You can see.
Yeah.
There's-
So spoiler, we did get them out of the ground.
There's like
There's a lot of them.
yeah. There's two plants in most of them, and
Some of them were like
just like
this
massive,
big.
and it would just be one in a crate.
Yeah.
And then some of them are labeled if she knew what the variety was exactly, and if not, then they just went into like a various.
Some of them we knew what they were. Some of them I'm like 100% sure they weren't what they were supposed to be. I think that we got some like COVID mislabels sent to us.
Yeah.
But
we got some good ideas for dahlias next year too, because.
Well, no, but I wanted to finish about.
You never finish.
I know, but I've showed my knee lift. I'm not distracted. Okay, so you're supposed to leave them after it frosted. It was supposed to get so cold that we couldn't leave them. They were going to freeze in the ground and get damaged.
Yeah.
So yesterday in the snow, we had to dig them out of the ground. But normally what you do is the frost would come and then it's like, a couple weeks later you dig them up. But this was a crazy year. So what we had to do is to actually cut off the tops. And now we need to be like watching them and make sure they're cured properly for storage.
They're in the shop, which is cooler than like a house, but
so they can't freeze.
It's not going to get below 0 in there.
I do have some concerns about how warm our garage is.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start making sure we close the door to our outbuilding. Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, Emma.
Yeah. Well, let us be your warning about having a farm.
It makes you sleepy.
It's a lot of work. But satisfying if you like working.
Yep.
Yeah. We quite often have the door between our outbuilding and our garage open. But I'm more concerned about heat getting into my garage than I am about the heat leaving the outbuilding.
Yeah. So
we need to kind of put them in the coldest spot in the garage so they stay temperate. I suck at overwintering them.
It's just tough. It's tough in this area.
They dry out here. Other people have all these issues with them like rotting. I don't know exactly how to do it, so I don't always have a lot of success. But
somebody asked, we're on 2.5 acres.
The property's 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
And what did we say we grew on this year? Like 12,000 square feet?
Yeah, like if you
Something
just go for what is actually planted.
Yeah, like that's everything. That's like all the greenhouses and the farm and the flowers.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's some in that range.
And we probably can do double that.
Oh,
very easy, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the long-term plan for the farm is that there's going to be 60 beds. Like
60 50-foot beds.
60 50-foot beds that kind of start around where our lower greenhouse is down to the bottom.
Yeah. And each bed's what, 36 inches wide or so?
4 feet, including. So
4 feet with the path.
With the path.
But
well, the path's going to be part of it, right?
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
I like that little dancing guy. Stickers. That's cool. We talked about the water like in depth a bit ago. Okay, wait, there was something else on my list. My questions. Where is it? Here, let's show you guys. So this is my list again, guys, just to show you. This. Oh, one of the questions, which I was like, I'll get to that because I'll talk about seeds all winter, was about like, how do you organize your seeds And this pretty much sums up our organization systems here on the farm. we definitely do not. That's one thing we can definitely work on, having better systems than using a crayon on a used piece of paper.
Yeah.
To organize
It's
ourselves.
It's what's available.
Yeah. Okay. So does that explain the Dahlias,
What
right?
did you get this for? You just
No, there's more stuff that we haven't answered.
Oh, I thought we answered them all.
No, there's still 2 more. These okay, and what this is I made a community post being like, oh, does anyone have any questions for us to talk about in the live video? And we've been doing community posts because we don't have comments on our videos because YouTube has disabled the comments on our channel.
Because we have kids in our videos, yeah. YouTube says.
Who knows? We've gotten on this weird list of channels that don't have comments, along with other children like videos. It's not getting fixed. We don't have comments. We've started doing this workaround that seems like it works pretty good. We've been making a community post that goes up when the videos release.
Yeah.
So because I know a lot of you guys, some of you, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and we're available there. But so if you want to make a comment for on the videos, we have a community post, so you don't have to. For people who only use YouTube, then that's available. And there.
We read them all. We just don't always get a chance to.
Yeah, it's
reply.
It's hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
But we usually try to get through them.
I can't tell you how many comments I've like started typing out an answer to, and then a kid jumps on you and is like, "I'm hungry. I'm hungry."
Yeah, and if you ever send us a message on Facebook and we don't get back to you, the Facebook loses stuff all the time. We're not like we try to get back to everyone on there, but Facebook especially is it
can be hard to
Facebook
find messages. So.
It's a very bad system. Yeah. They're like pages or whatever.
Did you ask your question? Fall bouquets? How we price stuff?
Yeah, how we price stuff.
Market research. Did that a little bit. Yeah. To start.
So
we went to some different farmers markets in the area.
Yeah,
and we checked out the pricing.
And I think a better way maybe of saying that is our base for our price initially comes from what other people in the area are selling their stuff.
But we didn't just look at their prices. We looked at what we had to, like, we're not going to sell something for a loss because other people are selling it for a loss. We look at their prices and that's like, oh, we might be a little high on this one or might be a little low on that one. Some of our prices are some of our stuff other people would price at $4 and we're at $3, but then it's 2 for $5, so we kind of straddle other people's prices with some of our bunches of carrots and beets. But we wanted. No,
I'd say what Ian's thinking of specifically is carrots. Our carrots beets, are
kale and stuff. But
really, people sell their.
Well, the thing is, you can adjust your quantities to hit the price points that you want, right?
So because our carrots are $3. Other people at the market are $4, but our bunches are smaller. And then most people who buy our carrots actually spend $5 with us.
So I'd say that maybe bunches. If you weighed it out per gram, maybe our $3 is less per gram or less value per gram than somebody's $4 bunch, but then our $5 double bunch is better value. But I mean, our carrots are so good that $5 for the 2 bunches is a good deal regardless.
Yeah. Some stuff that we sell is definitely more than... Right, like our cucumbers are $2. Our zucchinis are $2. Yeah. They're 3 for $5. So once you get into like that 3 for $5 price point, like we feel, that's not a bad
and
price.
Also what we have to do is provide the highest quality. Like if it's a $2 zucchini and somebody else is selling the $1 zucchini, then our $2 zucchini has to be perfect. Right?
Yeah.
we have to treat them very nicely. But I'd say for pricing, it's partially the sales thing of being able to say 2 for $5. Like we wanted to keep our numbers simple, so we found the price points that we wanted. We wanted like 2 for $5, 3 for $5, $10. All these nice, easy to work with numbers, so that when we're dealing with customers in a rush and they're like, "I'm grabbing this and this and this," and then they're like, "Are you keeping track? Because I don't know your pricing." And I'm like, "Yeah, like I got it." Because it's easy to add up in your brain just on the fly, right? And uh, you can't, if you take too long to serve a customer, customers will walk away from your stand. Like if you have too big of a lineup, you'll see them stop and like they want to go, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'll get you on the way back," and then they're gone. They're gone. They got their stuff.
The other advantage of the 2 for $5 pricing is it's like an upsell thing, right? So if you can get a customer to spend $5 with you, that's better than if they only spend $3. Just because the more money you can get out of each customer, the more money you can sell at the market, right? Because you're going to be more limited for time and customers than you are going to be for product.
Serena used to be a manager at a shoe store, and they had like a buy one get one 50% off.
Yeah, that's like a common sale.
Yeah, like a BOGO or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they got new like management, new CEO, and he brought in like a different pricing strategy where it was like just cheap stuff and like cheap pricing for every individual item. And people lost.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, Toronto, Canada.
People lost the like fun of buying. Like they were shoe shopping and they didn't
people want a deal.
Yeah.
People want like a sale.
So I think part of our pricing was built around the idea that you're trying to promote the 2 for something. You're trying to get the bigger sale.
Yeah. As I was cleaning up in here, I was actually thinking about pricing, because
somebody's offering a 3-way.
That's funny. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So as I was cleaning up in here, because right before as I started this YouTube channel, I'd also been thinking of starting this mitten business.
Yep.
And we decided to not go ahead with the mitten business. We decided to go with the YouTube channel. But the whole concept, oh, it's gone. The whole concept of the mitten business was that I went to all these Christmas craft fairs all the time, and a lot of these Christmas craft fairs, mittens as in sheep, like gloves.
Yeah, like mitten. Do you have your cutouts up there?
Let's see. I'm surprised I don't have. They're like always floating around because I literally have 1,000. Yeah, here's like a palm. Like, this is like the palm piece. I cut out 1,000 mittens before I was like, you know what? No, we're going for the YouTube instead. So one of these days, yeah. And then they like came, but yeah. So the reason why I came up with the mitten business, and yet again, you guys can take the mitten business along with the snow cone business because it's genius. Because I was selling this baby stuff at farmers markets and at craft fairs, and the problem that I had with the baby stuff was that there's not enough customers for baby stuff. Yep. This was like one of the things that kind of blew my mind when we started to sell food. Food is like so easy to sell because every single
it turns out everybody eats.
Yeah, everyone eats, right? So it's so easy to sell food. Like it's so
comparatively
easy compared to anything else.
We were like, when Serena sold baby products, she was selling like diapers to a lot of people, like cloth diapers, and like it's okay, you do a $20, say you did a $20 diaper sale. Well, Serena would end up spending an hour.
Whoa.
Whoa!
That's a lot of money.
Thanks so
Thanks.
much. That's very generous.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Uh,
I think I know exactly where we're gonna spend that money. Okay, we're gonna interrupt the mitten thing to tell you where we're gonna spend the money you just gave us, because we're right now doing research for the dahlias that we're going to buy for next year, because we need to get our wholesale order in.
There's
and
some good ones.
Ian and I have been arguing lots. We've been having
Yeah.
big Ian and Serena fights. This will, I hope, amuse you. We've been fighting about how many dahlias we're going to grow, because I'm like, no more dinner plates, and Ian's like, what do you mean no more dinner plates? Like, oh, we have to have dinner plates. We need like 20 dinner plates. We need 40 dinner plates. We need 80 dinner plates. And I'm like, 0 dinner plates. There's no space in my farm for dinner plates. There's been some very aggressive fighting.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, dinner plates, they don't produce enough, and they're like hard to grow, and they're like hard to put in bouquets. So I want to do smaller dahlias that produce a lot.
Yeah.
But so we've come to a compromise, and
we have a good compromise.
Yeah, the compromise is we both get what we want. I don't have to put any dinner plates in the flower farm section. I can just put, I'm gonna buy these smaller ball dahlias or decorative dahlias.
Yeah.
And then Ian is gonna build a like only for being pretty, not for picking garden.
There's a spot over by where our parking lot is that everybody walks by, and right now it's nothing. It's just like a space next to a shed.
Dinner plates.
And
well, there was some flower throwing.
And so I think that like with the space, it's a decent size. We could have a bunch of different stuff there, and just have it as like aesthetic, beautiful like planted garden area.
Because we didn't pick the dinner plates because they were so pretty, and they were like so hard to work with.
Yeah.
That we're like, they're more enjoyable like
on the plant. Yeah. And so this way, everybody who walks, because lots of our customers end up on the farm, like walking while we pick them something fresh. It just ends up happening all the time. So if every time somebody has to walk by this beautiful, just for aesthetics, flower farm, at the moment they enter the farm, it's just beautiful, right? I don't have to explain beauty. I'm not going to.
Well, he does to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Serena went on to some like Facebook flower farmer groups, and she was like mining them for varieties that work well for them, and some of them are gorgeous. Like they're all really cool.
I got a pretty good list of of what I want.
Go say hello.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you so much for that very, very incredibly generous a gift, because now Ian for sure gets to win the argument, because he can be like, well, we got all this money for dahlias, so we have to buy dahlias just for you. So thank you so much. Okay, no, but we were getting sidetracked about the mittens, but I wanted to tell you about my mitten idea, because it is a story about pricing and about how we think of pricing to come up with our pricing. And then I'm going to bring it back to flowers. So I was going to craft fairs and selling. So I was, seeing all the customers coming at these craft fairs when I had this baby stuff. And then I was also going to craft fairs just to kind of check things out, to do some market research to see what kind of stuff people were buying. And some of the craft fairs that I was going to were craft fairs where, you had to pay a $5 or a $10 entry fee. And they were full. They were super busy. And same with these craft fairs where I was selling the baby stuff. They were really busy, but I would see over and over again that people would be leaving without having bought anything. And this was especially true at Christmas craft fairs. And it made me realize is that people were going to these craft fairs to buy gifts. But the issue with a lot of the things that were being sold at these craft fairs is they were like really, really specific, really niche items that you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable buying for someone as a gift. You know, it's like it's something that's super quirky and super unique, and you wouldn't find it anywhere else other than, you know, this one person who makes it. And it's probably super fun to make. And it's super fun that when you find it and love it for yourself, but it's so specific that you couldn't just buy it as like a gift for your aunt who you're like, I don't really know what my aunt likes. And some of the busiest booths at all these craft fairs were the soap vendors. And people were like, oh, I'm buying these as gifts, like, oh, I'm buying this as a present. But it was always they were buying it as a present for a woman, like the Bath and Body. And I'm sure if for all of you women viewers, I'm sure you've had the, you know, someone who doesn't know you super well buys you a present and it's like scented candles or it's like a fancy soap. You know, it's kind of this like really neutral thing to give someone as a gift when you don't know what to get them. Um, so I was seeing people struggling to find this gift item and also struggling to find something that was like gender neutral, right? Like, so maybe you could find something at the craft fair for women, but you couldn't necessarily find something for men. And then I also was noticing that like people wanted to spend $20 as this present item. There, if the problem quite often with the soap was the soap was too cheap, so they couldn't, if they were like, you know, how many bars of soap do you need to get as a present, right? So you want to spend $20 as your present price point, but now you have this big huge mountain of soap. How much soap does one person need? It's like, oh, it's too much soap, but I still need to spend the $20. um, so I came up with the mitten idea as this is something I can make mitten for men, mittens for women, like, you know, for the coloring. I could price them in at that like $20 price point so that they'd be a gift price point. And then, you know, they could be a regular price, $20, but if you 3 for $40 type thing. So then you get a deal, but you know, so and then the idea was that it's something that would be priced right and would be neutral enough that you could buy it as a present for people that you don't know what to buy as a present for. And I thought that that would cover um, this. It would be the answer potentially. I don't know. I never tested it because I never got to the point that I was selling the mittens. But I thought that it would be a good solution to what people were looking for and not finding at this craft fair. And so I thought that was smart. I don't know. Maybe if it's smart, you should go out and you should try it. Maybe it's genius. Maybe it's a great business idea. Um, but I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about the flowers. And so we've been selling these $10 flower bunches, and the idea behind why I'm doing $10 flower bunches is that I wanted it to be in the price point that people would buy it for themselves every week, right? I didn't want it to be so much money that it was like oh, I really need to think about it before I buy it. Um, but I've been realizing that people are looking for these $20 price point bouquets. People don't want a $10 bouquet. People want a $20 bouquet. And you know, like just earlier today, I was like, oh, it's the exact same as the craft fair, because I've had people, you know, order these $20 bouquets for me, and they're always doing it as a present, right? So they're like, oh, I can't give someone a $10 bouquet that's not hitting the $20 price point. I need it to be a $20 price point to be the appropriate amount of money to spend on a present. And then I think it's also,
You know, if you don't spend your budget, then next year they won't give it to you, right?
or you feel guilty. You feel guilty that you like gave them a too cheap present, right? Yep. And I think it's also the case for when you're like, I'm gonna buy a treat for myself, if you're going to buy a present for yourself, you give yourself this $20 price point. And so you want to spend that $20 price point. And so I think having these bouquets, the $20 bouquet is now we're going to be able to cover both people who want to have flowers every week, like in the $10 price point, but also people who are looking to buy a present. And so they need a $20, they need a present priced item.
Did you tell everybody how we have another good video coming up?
No, but you can.
We made a video.
We've been hiding from the snow.
Yeah.
So we've been making
clicking away.
We've been making videos.
Yeah. And so the video is us planting the 3,000 tulips. And yeah, it's turning out to be pretty entertaining. Because I was a bit worried. I was like, oh, I was really enjoying making all the harvest videos and the market videos this summer. Like, they're really fun videos to make. They're a lot of mental effort to crunch so much footage, but they were turning out really well and people were responding well to them. So it was very exciting. And then, now as we're transitioning into the colder stuff, I was like, I think our videos are entertaining. I hope that they don't stop being like, fun to watch.
I keep telling them not to worry because I'm going to talk about seeds. And I know you guys all love hearing me talk about seeds. 4-hour seed shopping.
I want you to get it out of your system.
Ian loves that I make those videos because then he only has to hear about them 4 times instead of 5 times.
Yep. The point is, it's going to be a good video. So make sure to check it out.
Did you use the auger?
Yes, I did.
That's one of the questions.
Yep. It's near the end of the video because it's us like filling in the last little bits.
Yeah, because we bought a bulb auger 2 weeks ago. Recently?
Yeah, somewhat recently.
Someone was like, "Are you gonna use a bulb auger for your bulbs?"
And we're like, "Oh, yeah."
And we were like, "Oh, we gotta buy that."
We'd meant to earlier.
Yeah, we'd been meaning to buy one all summer.
Yeah, it worked pretty good. There was a technique to it. You had to use the technique, and also, it doesn't work well when there's lots of tree roots.
Oh, is that Kurt? Hey, Kurt.
Hey.
Congrats on your new property.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So what else?
There's one last question on the list.
What was the last question?
The question was... This is why I need my list. Fall bouquets. Someone was asking what they should put in their fall bouquets, and the answer to that is sunflowers. Because they were somewhere warm.
Yeah.
The answer to what are we going to put in our fall bouquets
is nothing. Dry flowers.
Dry flowers.
Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about that yet. That's like one of the final full circle, guys. It's an hour and 17 minutes later, and we're finally going to tell you what we all the things that we're going to sell for our fall for our fall sales. We have dried flowers.
Yeah.
So my flowers are done because it snowed.
Serena's been
but
keeping
all year.
Yeah.
All year. Anytime I have leftover flowers from picking or from the market, all the bouquets that are left over from the market, because almost everything that we grow you can dry. So they all come home, they get popped up, they get and dried, and now I have a couple boxes. And my big job this week, which was yet another reason why I was like, okay, sure, like we can take an extra week to get ready for the market, because I wasn't ready. I need a whole week.
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be putting together some stuff for having dried flowers, so that we still get to have flowers at our stand.
We don't know if they'll sell or not, so that's part of the market research.
Yeah.
Is this something that people are excited about? The flower bouquets, when you're selling them, you could have the same customer week with them. Do you sell one dried flower arrangement and then that's it?
Yeah.
Per customer? Like, is it a one and done type thing? Or
we just have to make sure to get moths in all of our dried flowers.
Yeah.
And then they'll go home with the people, and then they'll only last a few weeks. I'm joking. And that is 100% not the plan. That would be
That's what Serena calls a joke.
That would be bad if they were all moth eaten. I don't know. I think
I think that'll be fun. There's some color in it.
I have some questions. Part of the reason I don't even know. I'm a little bit overwhelmed about opening up these boxes and trying to start. First reason,
just handling them.
Yeah, they're super delicate, so I'm gonna have to be like really careful. Reason number one is every time I look at them, I get the Rolling Stones song in my head about the sending dead flowers in the mail, and I'm like, oh, they just look like dead flowers. But I don't know, like I don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know, like, I don't like flowers, so obviously I don't like dried flowers. So it's gonna take me. I'm gonna have to like stare at them. I'm gonna have to like immerse myself into. I've been looking at pictures of dried flower arrangements. I've been trying to get inspired. I have some bath salts. Ooh, that I bought a 20-kilogram bag of salt because Ian was like, "You got to go do a COVID shop," and I was like, "Ha ha ha!" Ian's not here, and he told me to stock up. Little does he know, I always have a year's worth of food in the house, but I don't have 5 years worth of salt. So I used that as an excuse to buy too much salt. But now I have too much salt. So maybe you just mix it with some dried flowers, and then I can get rid of both the dried flowers and the salt. Yeah, I don't like flowers. I'm team veggies. I like the fact that flowers look beautiful and sell, but prior to moving here, I was like pulling teeth to get me to be willing to plant flowers because I want all the veggies. I want all the veggies before the flowers. I'm getting converted. I love the dahlias. They're beautiful. And the zinnias, I love having them, but I don't think that if I couldn't sell them, I'd be planting them, other than to be able to sell them. But so I can warm up to them, but my first love is veggies. My number one love is tomatoes. If I took all the time that I spent thinking about flowers and all the time I spent thinking about tomatoes, I think about tomatoes more. I probably am not going to do wreaths because wreaths take a crazy amount of dried flowers to put together. And I don't have that many, and then they don't sell for very much, so it's not like, oh, I put together this wreath and it's the equivalent of like 10 bunches of dried flowers being sold separately, and I can sell the wreath for $100. People will be like, no, that's too much money. Oh, thank you so much. Snow shoveling strength. You'll laugh at me. My snow shoveling technique is I just wait for it to warm up and the snow melts. So probably not the best when I'm also trying to get people to come to our house to buy things when they're like, oh, there's no snow has been removed off this driveway. Yeah, but so dried flowers, that's my job for this week, and that is our fall flower plan. I have all this stuff I need. I'm so not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I don't even know. Do I eat amaranth? No, I'm gonna use it as beautiful dried flowers. I don't know that my amaranth varieties are green varieties too. Yeah, so I don't know. Tomorrow we're doing some errands, and I'm gonna see if I can find some cheap vases, something that's not see-through, like the mason jars. I'm gonna see if I can find something that like kind of has like a skinnier top, and then I might make some actual arrangements that I bring, but at very least, if I have a couple smaller vases that I can play with, I can get an idea of what the dried flowers will look like if all I do is bunch them for when people bring them home. I think a little bit of my confusion is, all of my dried flowers at this point are all like kind of bunched together. They're really tight. You need them to kind of be a bit more open and loose. So yeah, I need to play around with them to see what I'm gonna do. But that's my job for this week. I need to break apart garlic heads to get ready, because this weekend we're gonna plant all of our garlic, and then I need to figure out dried flowers. And once I can say something that's not like, I don't know, I hate them, we'll make a video probably about the dried flowers.
Yeah, there'll probably be a bunch of videos about the dried flowers.
Because they're good. I'm sure, I like watching the videos because then I get the experience that you guys get, which is like none of the frustration, all the satisfaction of it going from like, what are we gonna do with this mess, to like, oh, here, it's beautiful. So
it's like, oh, good for them.
That's
good work.
That's what the video will be. It'll be like, it's
nobody watches our videos more than us.
Yeah, that's true. That is 100% true. Because we watch them a million times when editing, because editing takes forever. Yeah. And then we are usually like, wow, what a great video. We watch it a couple times.
Yeah. I'll usually have my morning coffee the day after it releases, and I'll sit and I'll watch it on my phone so I can get the phone experience, as that's how most people watch YouTube these days.
Yeah.
Because we're editing on like a big screen on the wall.
Yeah.
So it can look different and it can sound different.
Yeah. I'm always like, oh, it looks so bad. Because it's, TV sized.
Pixelated.
And then I'm like, okay, it looks okay on the cell phone.
Yeah.
And it also, like, YouTube brings down the quality of everything. So like what looked really bad versus what looked really good in the editing program, they all start to look less high quality, which helps. There's how do we balance work and our relationship?
We just both want to work all the time,
I think. Yeah. That's my answer too.
Yeah.
Our relationship is like amazing because we love working, and so we get to work together. And then when we don't want to work, then that's fun too. We watch lots of TV when we're not editing videos. Yeah, we do. I think sometimes I think in general we watch more TV. Maybe not more.
When was the last time we watched a TV
We watched 2 episodes of The Good Place 2 nights ago.
Yeah, and we haven't watched any TV since then.
But like, we'll like sit down and watch, like,
when we get into a show.
When we get a show, we'll like sit down and we'll watch like 2 or 3 episodes. Like we'll watch 2 or 3 hours a night.
Oh well, you will. I'll fall asleep.
Yeah. What do we watch? We watch lots of stuff. That's why I feel like we watch a lot of TV. But who knows?
I don't think we do.
I think we watch more TV than other farmers.
We just watched a show that caught us off guard, The Great, like a Catherine.
Oh
the Great.
Yeah. Amazon Prime, The Great.
It was really
It was
funny.
like a period piece, but it was really good.
It was based on a play, and I can definitely see how how plays
really well written,
that back
really
and forth.
well acted.
Yeah,
like enjoyable. Like I love period pieces.
Huzzah!
Yeah, that they said that all the time. Yeah, but that was fun. That was a good show. There was one question that I didn't put down here that I should have put down. Is seed saving. Someone was asking about seed saving. We get questions about that, which would be something that you would be doing in the fall. And we get asked this all the time. People always want to know how we go about seed saving. And the answer is we don't. We do 0 seed saving.
We used to do a little bit.
We would save red Russian kale seeds. Because it overwinters really well, and then we'd be leaving it to flower anyways.
Yeah.
But then I just had bags of red Russian kale.
We would
and I was like, why do I
broadcast spread it and then kind of like
I think we'd sprout it sometimes, but it was like bad seed. But yeah, so the answer. So
we'd rather pay somebody else to do that. Like one of the things we realized is that we have to be very specialized with our time. We grow vegetables. We don't grow, tree fruits like our neighbors do. So when we go to a market, if we want tree fruits, we can be like, "Hey, we grew vegetables. Do you want some of our vegetables and give us some of your, cherries or whatever,
Yeah, or just buy it.
or just buy it." But the point is that time is our, you know our most important commodity, and we can't spread ourselves into too many different things. We just don't have time to save seeds because there's a billion other things to do on the farm at that same time of the season, and we'd rather take care of the stuff that makes us grow veggies better,
Yeah.
and then rely on
And then
other people who grow
Yeah.
for growing seeds.
we know how much work it is to produce an agricultural product. So we in no way ever complain about the price of seed.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, that's a good deal. Because if we had to like pay ourselves for the time that it would take to get the seed,
Yeah.
it would be like more expensive for us to do it. And then the other part, which I see some of you guys talking about there in the chat, is seed saving isn't a super simple thing.
Yeah.
Seed saving is actually really complicated if you wanted like if you're
there's some basic stuff.
There's like
basic
marigolds, right? Like I have like marigolds that I've saved some seeds and then I spread it. But like we're pretty picky about what we're getting. So if you want to make sure that your seed is going to be what you think, if you want to know exactly what's coming up out of that seed, you need to have made sure that you created that seed properly, right? And so there's a lot involved in getting the stuff true to seed. Yeah. And then as I saw Cynthia saying, we grow a lot of hybrids. So that means that the hybrids, like the mom plant and the dad plant, are two different plants, and then baby plant is different. Whereas
and then baby plant would create
and then baby plant makes something
would mix with some other plant.
Yeah, baby. If baby and baby have a baby, it's not a clone, right?
It could be two mamas. It could be two daddies.
Yeah, like
it could be a mama and a papa, or a papa and a mama.
And it's probably not great, whatever it is that their seeds make. And then if you wanted to get stuff that will be true to seed, like an open pollinate plant, then you can grow only those if you want to do seed saving and do all the work to isolate it and make sure it's going to be true to seed and get good quality seed, and then make sure that you know what the germination rate on your seed is and then plant accordingly. You can do all that with the open pollinated stuff, but then you're limited to only those.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say goodnight. I have to
You're going to go get the kids ready?
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Yeah. Serena, are you going to stay around and talk some more?
I'd say we're almost done. Because that was the last question.
Thanks for joining us. Well, thanks for joining me. You can continue joining Serena.
Yeah. But that's basically the answer to the seed saving. We don't do it. So there's no seed saving process. There is actually one thing that I've been thinking about seed saving. I really like, so Juliet tomatoes, my absolute number one favorite tomato. The tomatoes that Juliet produce, because Juliet is a hybrid, so the tomato plants that Juliet tomato fruit produce the following year are these like smaller grape shaped, not very prolific, and they don't grow very good, but they germinate really easily and they get like super long and leggy. They're these really weird plants. But if you've seen me putting in the tomatoes into the flower bouquets, those are the self-seeded Juliet babies. So I can plant them really, really tight together. And then they will produce these like really nice stems for using in bouquets. So I always have, a handful of leftover Juliets, and I'm thinking of saving that seed so I specifically can plant a row or a patch of Juliet's for picking for flower stems, where will have these skinny stems and this nice, interesting shape. But that's about it. And then I saw someone also asking if about flowers, and in the same way that we want to know exactly what we're getting for our vegetables, it's the exact same case for the flowers for seed saving. So we talked about it a little bit in like the flower farm tour, the one we were talking about, like dahlias and zinnias. This year we grew specific colors of zinnias instead of like a packet of seeds that was a mix of colors. And we did that because we wanted to be able to go pick in one spot and have like an entire bucket that's all the same color, because that made it a lot easier for when we went to arrange them. So having chunks of only one color instead of mixed colors really helped us in efficiency, which then leads to us getting closer to being profitable on the flowers. Um, so yet again, if I took seeds from my zinnias, they're not going to be true to color because they're all intermixing all the colors. So if I want to grow only one color, I want to buy it from someone who's isolated that color, can guarantee that seed is only that color. So we also definitely don't don't do those things from seed either. And I'm so much like no, no flower seeds, that one section of the farm that we will always have landscape fabric down on is anywhere that we grow the flowers, because they drop so many seeds, especially at this time of year where there's maybe still flowers that got left on that didn't get deadheaded. Anywhere that I grow flowers, one of my biggest weeds in those areas are self-seeded flowers, right? Because I don't want stuff just popping up. I want things where I planted them. So one of the biggest things I have to weed out of my flower farm in the spring when everything starts going to seed and germinating is, exactly the volunteer zinnias and marigolds and cosmos. Cosmos are like, oh, they're a nightmare. I had cosmos everywhere. In fact, so we don't water outside any of our grass areas, other than up, like you can see it sometimes in the drone shots. You'll see these like little circles up closer to our house, and that's like where the kids like play in the sprinkler. But we don't water any of the grass, so because of that, it keeps things from germinating. But I had cosmos germinating in the lawn around the flower farm, because there were so many seeds in there, and they're so, desperate to sprout, that they were doing their best to grow even without water, and you can't grow anything here without water. So yeah, flower seeds, we got lots of them, but but we don't want them. Yeah, blooming, yeah, totally. I think if like, I know that some people do some flower farmers, they just let stuff self seed over and over again in the same spot. And I think that would definitely work on stuff where it's less, where you're less picky about what you're getting. Like we have a section of like a annual baby's breath, and so I'm sure that if I wanted, I could just allow that to become a wild patch that just sprouts up over and over again. But then it's going to be harder to pick if you plant everything, so everything's blooming at the same time. It makes it easier to pick rather than, all willy-nilly. So there's advantages to paying for the seed and not seed saving, just when you're on our scale. Sometimes different in a farm versus a home garden. But I don't know if any of you guys if there's any more questions. That basically got through talking about the fact that we're still selling stuff, and some of those questions that we got on that community post. Yeah, so I see like when we're going to start growing again, because basically at this point we're not planting anything. We do have a video that I'll be editing at some point. There's no rush on it, and it's about planting videos. Sorry, planting flowers in the fall that overwinter so that you can get an earlier harvest in the spring. It's something that's like really popular right now. A lot of the flower farmers are talking about, and they're called cool flowers. And so I have a greenhouse that I have planted with some of that stuff there. So I do need to do a little bit of maintenance work on that, but those are all planted, and then all the rest of the farm is going to be um sorry, I was just trying to read the the comments. Yeah, so all the rest of the farm at this point, we're just harvesting. We're just, even the maintenance, we're not really weeding or anything. It's just picking out of what has already been planted in anticipation for this time of year. This time of year is actually it's a lot quieter. And the last thing we kind of have is the garlic, and then a few more harvests, and then we're done for the year. We did plant all the tulips, and we are almost ready to release our tulip video. We'll probably get that ready to be out for you guys in a couple days. But so I've seen people asking when we kids are running around. When we start seed shopping, so kind of like, we pick everything out, it's done. And then I usually seed shop on January 2nd because I want to get the new year seed. And probably, like, I probably still will. January 2nd will probably still be my veggie shopping day. But I have to, so I have a spring perennial and bulb order that I'll be putting in pretty soon here. My brain hurts, so I've been having a hard time making decisions. And now that I've planted all those tulips and realized it's a pain in the butt, I'll probably buy less than what I was tempted before I did that. So I do have to get that order done. And then probably I want to, in December, order my flower seeds. I buy my flowers from Geo Seeds, but people are saying they're really behind. So I want to get that in December so I can get it with lots of time. And then, beginning of January is when I order up all my veggie seeds. And I get that done, and then they're ready for me. And then I start seeds usually beginning of March, and then, kind of April is the earliest stuff that I plant outside. But I might try earlier this year. I might try some. April 1st is kind of when I've been starting, like, my first planting for carrots and other things, but I think I'm gonna try maybe like March 15th. We usually lose our snow end of February. So as soon as the snow melts, we're very, yeah, January 2nd. Well, it's January 2nd because they're closed on January 1st for the holiday. So the first day after the holiday. Oh, and January 2nd is my birthday. So I'm also like, oh, for my birthday, I'm going to buy seeds for myself. Yeah, we still have snow. The snow hasn't melted yet. It's crazy. Yeah. But I don't know. So I have lots of thinking. Basically, at this point, when the season starts to wrap up, we're tired. So we're definitely ready to have some lazy TV time. So, December we usually kind of take it easy. And the plan this year, because Ian usually goes away for work. Ian usually works out of town. So he's usually like not home for most of the winter. So that means then that it's just me. So there's more work with the kids. This year he's going to be here, so we have some infrastructure stuff that we need to get done. And then we also are hoping to put some energy and thought and attention into some of the YouTube stuff, that not necessarily videos. We're still going to try to do like 1 or 2 videos a week. But there's some stuff that we need to get organized, like back back end stuff. We need our in the same way that this is our organization for questions, and this is about as organized as I am when it comes to on the farm and my seeds. This is also about our organization system for the YouTube. So there's some business stuff that needs to get some attention. We got some like receipts that need to be sorted. We need to set up some business office type stuff over the winter. And so we'll have some time for that. And then we also will be able to recharge so that we can kind of assess how 2020 went on the farm, um, and get ready for our annual general meeting. All the shareholders in Red Roof Family Farm will take some time and have our annual meeting where we go over things that we need to improve on and kind of make our bigger picture business plan for next year. And then from there, I will buy what needs to be bought. And no, the cats are not shareholders. The cats are freeloaders. They get no votes. Kids don't get votes either until they start putting some hours in. Um, yeah, but yeah, the winter's for organizing basically, because the better we organize, the better we can kind of make the season go. You know, the we fumbled for sure this year. Um, the spring we were going according to plan. Some of the COVID stuff hit. We pivoted. It was still fine, and then we kind of were like, we got a little nervous about what was going on in the year. We fumbled. We currently have no lettuce. Things like that should have kept going the way it should. That didn't, but it's all learning. There's always next year. Always doing better is the hope. If we don't do better next year, then that's a problem, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. But I need to go because I need to go help Ian put our kids to bed. But thank you guys so much, and thanks so much for the super chats. We like hugely appreciate that. It's always very surprising. And thanks so much for joining us. It feels crazy that so many of you guys want to come and hang out with us while we chat about seed shopping and about what's going on the farm. We really appreciate how much you guys help us out and support us and everything. So till next live video, I'll see you, and watch for the tulip video. We have that probably not tomorrow, but probably the day after, I think. But thanks so much. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, see